guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, it is April 24th and it is 11:37 p.m. Eastern Time. I am going on. I have just uploaded the first video of Q-related news, and I am doing a second video. Now, it will be about the same length, and also I just checked in the break between doing the two videos, and Q has posted. So I am going to try to bring you that tonight as well, although by the time I bring it to you, it will actually be the 25th. So Q has posted in the last couple hours anyway, and so there's 3 posts, and there may be more by the time because he's still got about 23 minutes to post. So we'll take a look at that after I have done this. All right, so let's get into the news, and hopefully the last video recorded all right, because I have not had a chance to look at the comments in between because I want to, keep going and get finished in a good amount of time. All right, let's take a look at this. Hang on here. All right, let me get rid of this. Now, LA County's homeless population is growing, but not as fast as they're dying. Yeah. A record number of homeless people are dying across Los Angeles County on bus benches, hillsides, railroad tracks, and sidewalks. Last year alone, 918 people died, and in the last 5 years, deaths have jumped 76%, outpacing the growth of the homeless population, according to an analysis of county coroner data by Kaiser Health News. So far, health officials and experts have been unable to pinpoint a single cause for the increase, but say rising substance abuse may be a major reason. The surge also reflects a rise in the number of people who are chronically homeless and who don't typically use shelters, meaning more people are living longer on the streets with serious physical and behavioral health issues, they said. They say it is a combination of people who are living for a long time in unhealthy conditions or situations rather, and who have multiple health problems, said Michael Kozanu, a professor at the Keck School of Medicine of USC. There are more complications, and one of those complications is a high mortality rate. It's just a tragedy. And now it says nearly 53,000 people were homeless in LA County last year, and most were not living in shelters, according to a point-in-time count of homeless residents. That's an increase of about 39% since 2014. The homeless population has also grown nationwide, but there is no national count of homeless people who have died. The Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner coroner considers someone homeless if that person doesn't have an established residence, or if the person's body was found in an encampment, shelter, or other location that suggests homelessness. Based on those criteria, the coroner reported that there were 3,612 homeless people who died in LA County between 2014 and 2018. A detailed look at the data reveals a complex picture of where and how homeless people are dying. 1/3 die in hospitals, even more died outside in alleyways, parking lots, riverbeds, and on freeway ramps. The death of homeless men outnumbered the death of homeless women, but the percentage of women who died increased faster than for men. And although African Americans make up less than 1/10 of the county's population, they accounted for nearly a quarter of the homeless deaths. We need to take action now, said the Reverend Andy Bales, CEO of the Union Rescue Mission, a homeless shelter on LA Skid Row. Otherwise, next year, it's going to be more like 1,000. Now, I think that this is alarming, and I'm not going to read the entire article, but I wanted to show you this because I don't know how Los Angeles can call itself a sanctuary city and allow all this influx of people when you have that many homeless people, 53,000 people homeless, in Los Angeles. That's a lot. That's a lot of homeless people. And, Los Angeles is not the cheapest place to live. I think we would all agree on that. In fact, I don't know how people do it. I certainly couldn't. I know that they get paid a little bit better, but still, even just to rent an apartment there, it's outrageous. Outrageous. So it's not surprising that there's that many homeless, but I don't know why they would want to be welcoming more in terms of illegals. Not sure. They can't even take care of the homeless that they have. How are they going to take care of all these illegals? I don't get it. I don't think any of us really get it. Okay, now let's go back, and we're still uploading there to YouTube, and let's go on. I think you'll find this pretty interesting as well. Facebook expects record $5 billion fine from the FTC over privacy violations. Can you imagine being so wealthy that you just set aside, $5 billion? You're expecting a $5 billion fine, but do you change your policies? No. They just want to continue to violate our privacy, so they'll pay the $5 billion. Probably not much to them. Unbelievable. And let's look at this. Facebook has told investors it's probably on the hook for up to $5 billion in fines, a record high penalty for a tech company in the U.S. as a Federal Trade Commission probe continues into its violations of users' privacy, citing a $3 billion legal expense accrued in the first quarter of 2019 related to the ongoing U.S. FTC matter. In its quarterly financial statement, Facebook later admits the penalty might be much higher. We estimate that the range of loss in this matter is $3 billion to $5 billion. The statement reads, adding that the matter remains unresolved and there can be no assurance as to the timing or terms of any outcome. They sound so concerned, don't they? The FTC is investigating Facebook on charges it repeatedly and catastrophically failed to safeguard users' data from allowing Cambridge Analytica to scrape 85 million users' information, to permitting corporations like Microsoft and Netflix to access users' messages and other personal info as part of a secret data sharing partnership. Investigators have reportedly found plentiful evidence that Facebook violated a 2011 FTC agreement requiring it to get permission from users before sharing their data with third parties and to notify the FTC when third parties have misused their data. The multi-billion-dollar penalty would be unprecedented for the FTC, which has been letting effective tech monopolies like Google and Amazon off easy so far. Previously, the largest fine leveled against a tech firm was a $22 million slap on the wrist for Google in 2012 over failure to abide by a previous FTC agreement not to use cookies to track users of Apple's Safari browser. A multi-million-dollar fine against Facebook would reflect the severity of its violations, breaching an existing agreement that was reached with the FTC after a previous investigation had found the company harmed users by failing to safeguard their personal information. The Facebook investigation began in March 2018 in response to the Cambridge Analytica revelations, but several additional privacy scandals have come to light since then, putting pressure on the FTC to impose the maximum in fines. The regulator can ask for up to $41,000 for each violation it finds. If Facebook declines to settle, and the Washington Post reported earlier this year that they had expressed concern with the FTC's demand, the case could go to court. While $5 billion may not seem like much next to the $15.1 billion in revenue Facebook has reported for the first quarter, that's just the first quarter of 2019, such penalties do add up, especially as Facebook has seen its value drop in response to a seemingly endless string of scandals and European regulators having begun to impose restrictions on its ability to hoover up users' data unimpeded. So there you go. Wanted to let you know about that. Yeah, that is a big fine. But for Google, not such a big fine for them. So, but at least somebody is looking at this data breach and their misuse of our personal data. So at least it's being looked at and it is being taken seriously. But I would prefer somebody would look into the censorship as well. That issue is massive. And I would most certainly like that to be dealt with, as I'm sure you would as well. All right, now let's go on. This from Chad Pergram. Hang on here. Formal announcement of Senate Judiciary Committee. This is good news. Good news for a change. And I'm thinking that you're going to like this. Formal announcement of Senate Judiciary Committee hearing with Attorney General Barr on May 1st. May 1st. The Department of Justice investigation of Russian interference with the 2016 presidential election. So this is a formal announcement of the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing with AG Barr on May 1st. Can't wait for that. But I guess I'll have to. And this from the Bradford file, a Russian bank, and this is a response to Hillary Clinton, by the way, who said the following: Robert Mueller's report documents a serious crime against the American people. Yeah, by her. Oh, she's funny. She's funny. Oh, it documents a serious crime against the American people. It sure does. But wasn't Trump. Anyway, all Americans should demand action and accountability. Oh, we do, Hillary. We really do. We do demand action and accountability. Anyway, the Bradford file responds to Hillary and says, a Russian bank paid your husband $500,000 for a talk while you were Secretary of State. Your basement bathroom server was used for the sole purpose of avoiding Freedom of Information Act requests. You have taken cash from tyrants and America's enemies. Sit this one out, hypocritical wench. Well, I would say that that's strong language, but hey, she is. I mean, honestly, I don't, realistically, I would hope that these people at some point would repent and turn and, sure, they would still face the consequences. They would absolutely need to face the consequences in this life. But if they repented and turned, at least they wouldn't face the consequences in the next life, which really matters. That's how I look at it anyway. Okay, and this from Emily Ramshaw. And this is really interesting. For the first time, J. Root has tracked down the officers at the scene of Beto O'Rourke's 1998 DWI crash. Yes, he had a DWI crash. They stand by their report that he tried to flee the scene, which O'Rourke denies. Now, who do you believe? Do you believe this guy who's, he made his wife eat baby poop. Come on. And was in a DWI crash. Do you believe him, or do you believe the officers that were at the scene? Because I kind of believe the officers that were at the scene. I don't think they'd have any reason to make that up. This was back in 1998. What reason would they have to make that up? None. But he has every reason to lie. Every reason to lie. So, thought that was very interesting. Yeah, truth always catches up to you, Beto. Yes, it does. You can try running from the truth, but it'll find you. Officers at the scene of Beto O'Rourke's 1998 DWI crash say they believe that, well, I guess it's cut off here because I didn't go to the actual, so we can just go by what it says up here, that they stand by their report. I guess I should have put the link there to the actual article, but I didn't. I'm human. All right. And Piers Morgan responding to the New York Times opinion. The New York Times opinion says, my visit to the border confirmed that we have a real immigration crisis. The solution is a high wall with a big gate, but a smart gate, writes Tom Friedman. And Piers Morgan responds, wow, top New York Times columnist backs President Trump's wall to control U.S. southern border, because he went down there and discovered there's a real immigration crisis. Yeah. Funny how when they go down and look for themselves, then they think, yeah, there's a crisis here. We need a wall. Uh-huh. I put this here because I never knew how to pronounce his name, but it is Buttigieg. Who knew? Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. Now, we're going to look into something about him because he has decided to run for president. Well, let's look at who he is when he's not at home. All right. Now, first of all, who is he? Peter Paul Montgomery Buttigieg is I like to say that now. Now, that's my new favorite one. Papadopoulos, I liked that one, but Buttigieg, that's even more fun. Buttigieg. Okay, Peter Paul Montgomery Buttigieg is an American politician serving as the 32nd and current mayor of South Bend, Indiana, since 2012, a member of the Democratic Party, well, naturally. Buttigieg is a graduate of Harvard University, a Rhodes Scholar, and a veteran of the war in Afghanistan. He has been mentioned as a possible candidate for president of the United States in the 2020 election, and he has now announced that he is running. So let's look at who he is and where he comes from. Things that make you go, Here we go. Okay. Buttigieg is probably further left than he is letting on. Have you heard about his father? The father of Democrat presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg was a Marxist professor who spoke fondly of the Communist Manifesto and dedicated a significant portion of his academic career to the work of Italian Communist Party founder Antonio Gramsci, an associate of Vladimir Lenin. Sorry. First day with the new hands. Okay, Joseph Buttigieg, who died in January at the age of 71, immigrated to the U.S. in the 1970s from Malta, and in 1980, there's a lot of interesting things about Malta. Yeah, we won't go there right now, but there's a lot of interesting things about Malta. Okay, and in 1980, joined the University of Notre Dame faculty, where he taught modern European literature and literary theory. He supported an updated version of Marxism that jettisoned with some of the Marx and Engels' more doctrinaire theories, though he was undoubtedly Marxist. Buttigieg, now this is, the one in question, the one that's running for president, says that he is a capitalist, but that capitalism needs reforming, which puts him in the same camp as Ray Dalio. As for other Buttigieg non-niceties, he wants to abolish the Electoral College and introduce a program of mandatory national service, which, according to a recent Reason magazine article, is a really terrible idea whose time might have come. Now, does it say, I'm telling you, I keep doing this. He has not said anything about 90% income taxes or wealth taxes. He is most definitely, a socialist. There's no question. And I think that just about the whole Democratic Party, it seems, is now. At least it seems so to me. So anyway, there you go. Buttigieg. He needs to jig his butt on out of there because he's not going to win. Nope. Okay, now we've got, I've got Sammy sounds happening. Alert, alert. Trying to figure out, what's that sound? Is that the sound of something that I cherish being trashed? Is it the sound of scratching at my furniture? Is it the sound of, I don't know, chewing my shoes, my purse, my earbuds? I don't know. I don't know what that sound is. It scares me a little. but I'm going to soldier on now. I'm soldiering on. All right, this is, I think you'll find interesting as well, or maybe not. But I did. I found it very interesting indeed, and hence I am sharing it with you. Only the best for you guys, only the best. All right, we've got this. John Podesta was in New Zealand 5 days ago, warned of major cyber attack. Now, this was March 15th, like this is not current, but live updates, mass shooting at mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. Okay, well, what else do we have here? Whoops. And then we've got this. Nancy Pelosi arrives at Stormont for final day of visit to Ireland. And then you've got this over here. Derry tonight, absolute madness. Journalist killed in Northern Ireland clash, the Washington Post. And you know who took responsibility for that? They're calling themselves the new IRA. Now, I understand a lot about what has happened and is happening in Ireland because I have a good friend that, you know, she immigrated here from Ireland. So she fills me in, and she was right in the heat of the fighting during the Troubles. And it's interesting because it sounds like it's starting up again. The new IRA? Yeah, and that's the Catholic side, by the way. Catholics are fighting the Protestants. They have been for hundreds of years. It's really ridiculous, and to listen to her, I don't understand. Like, it's very hard for people that don't live there and are not from there to understand what's happening. It really is. But I just find it interesting. Well, John Podesta was in New Zealand. Then you had the mass shootings. And then Nancy Pelosi was in Ireland. And then you had the journalist killed by the new IRA. And that journalist probably knew too much. That's what I would say. She knew too much. And then you've got this. There's Michelle Obama. Dinner cruise vibes turn to concern during Notre Dame Inferno. And there she is drinking wine. She looks really concerned. And then, of course, you know that the fire was in Notre Dame. It was known as the Forest, and it burned like one. Yes, it did. And then we've got this. Come on. There we go. Samantha Powers visits Sri Lanka and ignores history. Barack Obama's former UN ambassador is no longer the human rights supporter that she claims to be. And then at the same time, we had the Sri Lanka attacks. Why is it that there's always a deep state person around whenever one of these attacks are happening? I don't know. Is it a coincidence? Could be. Might not be. I know people say, well, people vacation, places. Remember how the Obamas were, or at least Huma and Hillary were on Hawaii during that false, attack or whatever that was. I don't think anybody really knows what happened yet. I think there was a lot of surmising going on, but yeah, just seems like they're always around when bad things happen. I find that a little coincidental. I'm just going to check over here, make sure everything is recording as it should be, and it is. So I'm going to skip back over here. I'm a little bit paranoid now because, well, for good reason. How many times have I recorded an entire video and there was no sound? And, that's very frustrating. It's frustrating to you guys too, because if I upload it and I don't know, then I get, all these comments, which you guys are so good-natured. You really are, because instead of like, you stupid idiot, there's no sound. It's just cute little remarks. Like, really, you guys are so good-natured. Yeah, anyway, I'll try to keep that from happening in the future. Now, this from Jack Lee, QFD Shadowband. Timing is everything. POTUS cleared the decks with Twitter meeting today to free up censorship issues for FISA declass. If so, I'm not going to say that word right here. I'm pointing to it. About to launch. And you got this right here. Let me scroll down. Or not. FISA brings down the House. So what this person is surmising, and who knows, it's as good a theory as any. He's saying, yeah, POTUS had this meeting with Jack Dorsey from Twitter, probably to free up the censorship issues because FISA D-class is coming and POTUS does not want that censored. So I don't know, but I don't know. We'll find out. We will find out. Now, look at this. No, really, look at it. How Google celebrates Ramadan. Oh, well, look at that. Isn't that festive? It's Festivus for the rest of us. And then how Google celebrates Easter. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Zilch. Well, they can't say, I mean, I could see them not putting anything for Easter if they said, well, you know what, we're not religious, we don't, that's completely separate, and we don't, but, oh, they went all out for Ramadan. Gee, I wonder what side Google's on. All right, and this, a theory, but an interesting one. All right. Here is Donald J. Trump. He said, and the poor guy got so much flack from this because he put 138 million people. He said, heartfelt condolences from the people of the United States to the people of Sri Lanka on the horrible terrorist attacks on churches and hotels that have killed at least 138 million people and badly injured 600 more. We stand ready to help. Now, I know when he did that, oh my gosh, he took so much heat for that. But I remember thinking at the time, I don't think he makes errors like that. I really don't. Not on purpose. And usually if it is an error, it's gone immediately. But you know what? Most of the time, even when it's deleted, he meant something by it because he's told us to pay attention. Well, Q's told us to pay attention to spellings and all that. And there have been so many messages in Trump's tweets. So 138 million, if you go to the 138 post 138, and this was back 11th of November in 2017, so this was not long after the Q post started, you've got this post, and remember, those of you that have been following this from the start will probably remember when he listed all of the banks that the Rothschilds had, and looky here, this is the post that points to, and Sri Lanka, Central Bank of Sri Lanka. I don't know. It's a theory, but it's a pretty good one because we know that Donald Trump and Q work hand in hand, and a lot of his stuff points to certain posts that Q did to give us further insight. So is he telling us that the Sri Lanka attacks had something to do with the Sri Lanka Central Bank, or the Sri Lanka Central Bank of Sri Lanka? Is this the, hang on, Rothschild banks? Yeah, these are all Rothschild banks. So I don't know, but something to think about and something to look further into. Now, hang on here. POTUS deleted tweet, sync to Q post 138 about the Rothschilds. So I don't know if there's more to that. I think that as time goes on, more will come out about this, and it's going to be one of those future proves past. We're going to get the explanation at some point. But for now, that's as good as any. Now, let's look at this. I liked this, and this by Ben Garrison, very, very talented. And it says the boat is Russia collusion, and we've got all the major players in there. And there's poor McCabe getting sick to his stomach, seasick. And you've got Obama here pointing a weapon, mainstream media. So yeah, anyway, And then you've got Trump, which is the wave, and he's holding a hammer of justice. And then you've got Barr behind him, another big wave. And of course, that's going to swamp the boat, right? And it says the tide has turned. And indeed, it has. And I think we can all safely say that we are extremely glad that it has. I see that every day, that the tide has turned. Yes, the Democrats are still running their mouths, and they will, but they're making less and less sense. And I think people are picking that up, like normal people, the people that are asleep. Because no, I shouldn't say most people. I don't know the percentage of awake versus asleep, but more and more people are waking up. And I think those that are still asleep are looking at things that the Dems are saying and they're going, what? So I feel like the tide has turned. I hope that it's not just a feeling and that it's backed up with fact really soon. But I think we've got a lot of stuff coming up. We've got the declassification of the FISA. We've got a lot of stuff happening, and we still don't know what's going on with Assange, whether he is going to be testifying. We just don't know. But let me tell you, if Assange testifies, that's going to be the death of Hillary. Oh yeah. So anyway, that is it for this Q-related news. Now I am going to go and I'm going to see if I can bring you the Q post from tonight. And if I can do that, then I will do another small video on that. There's 3 posts that I saw, at least, unless he posted more in the meantime. So let me go and do that, and I will be back with another video. Imagine. So thank you guys so much. Thank you guys too for the support. Those that buy me coffee or my Patreon supporters, I really appreciate it. It goes a long way and it does help. So I do appreciate it. I don't want anyone to ever think that I take it for granted, because I don't. And I have such wonderful listeners that you make it a pleasure. You really do. So thank you so much. I will see you guys later. I hope you come back, and have a good night. Stay safe, stay well, and seek truth. Deception bites. Good night.